There's the man with the chip on the shoulder, like. No, I've no chip on the shoulder.
Just hang on a sec, Dave. Just hold on there, Dave. If that man had said to you, I worked as a coal man, a miner, you would have retorted, saying, so you know nothing about public transport, you know nothing about transport. The man tells you that he worked for a transport company, and you accuse him of having a chip on the shoulder.
Exactly, Joe, that's what it goes. They have to take the pension that they're supposed to get. And my analogy was, that if I was a private bus operator, and I was going to get 1 or 2 or 3 passengers to go from any permanent in town, I wouldn't continue that. I couldn't continue it. But number of bus are obliged to continue it.
No, this man doesn't know what he's talking about. This man doesn't know what he's talking about. Our company ran 120 buses on public service routes where we were contracted to do routes every day, irrespective of whether it was 1 passenger or 10 passengers. And we got paid to do it, and if we didn't do it, we got fined, and if we didn't perform, we lost money, and there was it. So we had to get efficient. And I can tell you that, we have no bitch about suspension in Ireland. It didn't concern us. We had no business interest in Ireland, and we had no intention of getting involved in Ireland.
You're not from London, you're from London, yeah?
Yes. I can only talk about what I know, and what I can talk about in authoritatively.
Yeah, I understand. I worked in Dublin bus. I worked in Dublin bus and all that. I know the wages. I know the wages for Dublin bus operators get. Like, I mean, what you're talking about is the private individual, the private bus operator, the wages to pay and run. But I would say you should be checking yourself if you're paying. That's living wages. That's what's wrong with this country, you know what I mean? We want slave labour. Everybody wants slave labour.
No, everybody wants to be paid double what the value of the job is. That's the problem with the country. All our contracts talking about.
Joe Patterson, small. I know are you trying to set up a business retail union? Are you in conflict? Why you think the current small business organisations aren't up to the job? Is it, Joe?
Oh, absolutely, Joe. We have no representation.
Well, then if let's presume you want to set up a business retail union, where let's presume so you're the spokesperson. What are you saying about this strike in the next 2.5 days?
Well, Joe, like as I said here, in the private sector, we've no monopoly whatsoever. If we're not efficient, not doing the job right, we're gone. End of story. And we're not taking taxpayer money. And we don't subsidise canteens or anything else. We buy our own. Now, the simple fact of the matter is that the government wants to stop all this nonsense. They just come along and they open up the bus corridors to the people that there's thousands of buses out there, and they plan to drive in, you know. If the negotiation process is costing the taxpayer a lot of money as well, it's not used and not working, forget about it. Just open it up to the same as the private sector where we have to compete for somebody.
Well, they won't even open the Gardaí won't even open up the bus lanes on Thursday and Friday.
Correct.
Let alone open up the things you're calling for. Liam, 51551 Joe at RT.ie. Liam, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Joe.
Did you know the strike effectively, according to Dublin Bus, are withdrawing buses from 5 minutes to 9 tomorrow night for the Thursday and Friday strike? When did you become aware of that?
Well, I only became aware of it, Joe, when you said it on the radio, but there's no logical reason for that. Buses return to their depots every evening at normal times, and they're rostered to be available the following morning. So this is obviously some sort of change in the plan, and it's just to make the strike more effective. But this strike, Joe,
maybe it's a decision by Dublin Bus which will embarrass the union. Look at it that way.
Well, it's a possibility. I don't know that, Joe. I just rely on what you're saying.
Yeah, what I'm saying is we are reading out the Dublin Bus statement, and they're stopping all buses at 5 minutes to 9 tomorrow night for the Thursday and Friday strike, tomorrow night, Wednesday. This is to ensure the safe and secure return of buses to each depot prior to the commencement of industrial action by employees.
Well, we know buses return to their depots every night, Joe.
Yeah, but it doesn't take you 3 hours to get from Abbey Street to Clontarf.
No, it doesn't. And I don't know what the logic of that statement is, but I think what's more important, though, is to look at what is this strike about. This strike is really about clean precedence. Lewis
bus drivers got a deal, so now the bus drivers want a deal. After the bus drivers, we'll have the railway drivers. After that, we'll have the guards. After that, we'll have the nurses. And then we can go back to the mills again. It's just nonsense, absolute nonsense.
What's wrong with workers wanting to get the money that they're owed back? What's wrong with that?
Look, there is nothing wrong with workers looking for fair pay. Now, over the years, I don't want to say how, but over the years I've had a fair degree of contact with bus drivers, and I know what their average earnings are. And I would be very interested in anybody in an official capacity would publish what the average earnings are, because they are considerably greater than the average industrial pay. And, you know, this sort of comment by another listener there shows an absolute ignorance of basic economics. Companies have to make profits to invest some of that back into the infrastructure, whereas the union view is that if a company makes profit, the profit should be distributed amongst the workers. That is nonsense.
No, somebody's not supposed to take the money of the company. Talking about what they're due right. The money that was taken in 2008, that they haven't got it right. As I said, there's a two-edged effect. You have increases in your USD, all the taxes, all the state taxes, all the yeah, but how do you expect the household to walk on a culture that the mortgage there for 2008, yeah, the mortgage there was there long before 2008, and they're being asked to pay more and more and more, and their wages are being reduced. Just you're talking about let Dean reply.
Look, this is a community. If you would please give me the courtesy of allowing me to speak, we have heard enough of your view. This is a country that every day of the year borrows 10 million to keep the country afloat. And the public sector, and in that I include bus drivers, the public sector have been very privileged in that context. And if you talk to people in the private sector, they know the realities of what is necessary to survive in life. And you cannot simply say the newest drivers got a good deal, we want a better deal. And as I said, following that, the rail drivers would say the same. You know, people want to live in the real world. And really, the union officials want to understand basic economics. Nothing else.
There was nobody in the public sector owning when during the Celtic Tiger when they were earning a fortune.
Yeah, but hang on, is it not fair to say the last time Dublin Bus advertised for drivers, they were overwhelmed by the number of applicants? Overwhelmed.
And why, Joe? Why not? The cars were overwhelmed too, but the cars are actually 3,000 stars. You know what I mean? That doesn't mean anything.
I would have thought it was that people looked at the job and said it's a job
it's because of this, and a lot of those, Joe, didn't pack it. That's why they couldn't fill it. They didn't pack the job.
Joe, within about 5 years, we will have driverless buses. And the unions represent really the Luddites of 2016. And they are, if you'll excuse the pun, driving their members to obsolescence.
Martin's in Leash, 51551. Martin, you're minded and by the Lewis comparison argument.
Joe, that man who says we'll have driverless buses, he might be right, we'll have driverless trams, which we have at several airports in the world. But I give him a guarantee we won't have a driverless bus. I'm a privileged OAP that can go around the country for free on a bus or a train. And when I get to a city like Dublin or Cork or Limerick, I'm forever astonished at the expertise of these bus drivers. Now, it's the first time I've ever in my life run a business. It's the first time I've ever backed the strike. But for those guys, and it comes down to natural choice at the end of the day. The guy doing a job thinks he's worth a certain amount of money, and that's what it comes down to. And these guys have this feeling at the moment, I know because I spoke to one of them recently on a bus. I don't know the person. But if they can see a guy flying up and down a mechanical track in Dublin, in a straight line, earning money is the most natural thing these guys could do, and I think they're fully absolutely justified in what they're doing.
Joe, with all due respect, other listeners doesn't understand the technological changes that have already taken place. Why do you assume I don't understand? Well, you say we won't put driverless buses. We already have driverless cars. We already have driverless.
It's a long way from driving a juggernaut of a bus through the city of Dublin, let me tell you.
Well, I'm going to go the technology already exists and it's already being tested in many cities. It's only a short period of time before it's
I don't know what age you are, and I can tell you I am heading for 70, and I can tell you I hope to live a good 3 years, and I am getting very technologically minded. We are going to see the tram going up and down the track without a driver, but we are not going to see in the next 40 years ever see a bus going out the ring bend or down along the tunnel.
Was there ever an option in Dublin Bus, given that you say the union leaders say it all the time, our aim isn't to discommode people, which sounds bizarre. I know that's not their sole aim. But was there ever an option of, let's run the bus service, but we won't take any fare?
Well, that did happen once or twice. I think that did happen once or twice. But then
that means people could still use the bus, and you'd be making a point.
Yeah. But yeah, no, Joe, but listen, Joe, nobody really wants to go on strike. Like, I mean, the bus drivers, they all have families. And like, I mean, you lose money on a strike, you never make it up. It's a principal thing. And that man was talking there, what chap his name is, but the chap is talking that knows everything about economics and all that. He's on about the billions it takes. What about this government that's refusing to take 13 billion that's supposed to be owed?
I know.
You know what I mean?
The ample argument out, and we've covered it almost every single day in totality last week, will be dragged up now into every single meeting. Let me bring in Sue again before the break. Sue, good afternoon.
Hi, Joe, how are you?
When did you become aware that the bus strike that you thought was on Thursday and Friday is now beginning tomorrow night? Tomorrow night at 8:55.
My mum just phoned to tell me, and I was absolutely fuming because I've had a problem with Dublin Bus for the last couple of weeks. I actually have phoned on numerous occasions because I get the bus, the 10 to 5 bus, that leaves the Father Street heading to Hope. And I tell you, over the last 2 months, every single week at some stage that bus hasn't arrived. I phoned to complain, and I eventually got somebody to phone me back from the Clontarf depot last week. And the answer to that was, oh, the driver didn't turn up that morning, so he has to cancel that route. I couldn't believe he told me that. I don't think he cancelled.
Well, two things. One, you got an answer, which is not surprising from Clontarf, you always do. And two, that he told you straight.
But Joe, you think he just told me, like he said, not only that route is cancelled, that route is cancelled for the whole day. But I could see that
The whole day, the route disappeared.
That whole route, whatever bus driver, if he's meant to be on that route, whatever route he is on that day, that route is just cancelled. And he said, it's not only your route, it happens to a few other buses as well, we just cancelled them. And I said, surely you must have a backup or somebody on standby to cover routes. She goes, no, we're short-staffed. And I said, well, would you not be recruiting at the moment? He said, well, we are presently recruiting, but we haven't found anybody suitable for the job. And I couldn't believe, I got really annoyed with him on the phone, and I kind of was, I was phone Joe and just explained it. I asked him his name, but he wouldn't give me his name, but I just managed to get his name. But I said, if the train on a Monday morning at 9 o'clock wasn't going to go, I don't Lion Air would just cancel the service. Surely there's a backup there. I would have considered Dublin Bus, you're offering a service. You would definitely have people on standby.
What route are you talking about, Sue? Sorry, just...
31 to Hope.
Yeah, but they didn't cancel the whole route for the whole day.
No, just that, no, I'm saying, if he was due to be on that bus for, say, 10 o'clock that
Okay, so
morning.
the frequency was reduced pretty dramatically if you lose one driver on one bus.
Yeah,
So
but it seems to be every week at dates and times, it seems to be that particular bus at 10 to 5 that is not running.
Joe, the essence really of this argument should be, what is the average pay? Why don't the unions come out and tell us what the average pay is, and why doesn't Dublin Bus do the same? And let the public judge.
So your point is you don't want the basic pay, you want the average earnings.
Absolutely. We know what the average is. I know what the average
I mean, that just may be, but people who know what their average earnings are, and the people, the men and women who drive the buses and work on the buses, and they're saying, we're not happy. And they're
not happy because the Lewis drivers got a big pay award. And as I said, we're on this sort of circular track. Lewis drivers are the precedent for the bus drivers, who are the precedent for the railway drivers, who are the precedent for the guards, who are the precedent for the nurses, and back to the bus drivers again. No, it's nonsense. Let's just stop it.
George, that chap that you want to tell the world what he wears.
But hang on,
I'm not on strike,
he's
and
not
I'm
going
not
on strike, is
public
he?
to ransom.
Yeah, we'd still love to know that maybe the reason you're not on strike is because you're earning big bucks.
Well, you'd be wrong, but I'm not willing to actually.
Of course you're not, yeah, but you want everybody to tell you.
Okay, well, Liam, can I ask you what age group you are?
Yes, actually, I'm an old age pensioner, Joe.
And have you got a pension?
I'm collecting the state pension.
Okay, and have you got a pension from Dublin Bus?
Wow, yeah.
No, that's fair enough. So the two of you are older.
You wouldn't go mad on it.
I know that, Liam,
I wouldn't go mad on any pension, so don't worry about that.
Well, I'll tell you something else, Steve. It's about 40% that we do get for on the state pension.
Well, look, I'm not going to get into an argument about state pension versus bus drivers' pensions. What we're talking about is reasonable pay for the job, and the bus drivers get more than reasonable pay for the job.
That's your
opinion. The simple way to judge that is let both the unions and Dublin Bus tell us what the average pay is, and then the public can judge for themselves.
Okay, you don't need to know.
Back after this break.
Talk to Joe on 1850 715 815.
What you need is a real lab. Brady family hat. A hand that is real. Not some pretender contender pumped full of added water for the weight. No, it's going down. Yeah, right. He's on water and always. Knock out the Brady family. So leave the buffed up heavyweights sweating out there in the shelves and choose lean, mean Brady family hat with no added water. Brady family hat. The ham other hams want to be.
Oh, so summer, eh, Ona? It's much chillier this year. Apparently the Gulf Stream is slowing down. I know the feeling, Mary. Come on, let's go in. Oh, good. Your home is always lovely and warm. Thanks to our heat-retaining window glass from Everglades. Oh, it's so cozy. Should we have the heating on in Youngs?
Retrofit new Everglades Low E Plus heat retaining glass into your existing window frames.
You know, I heard the home renovation grant ends this coming December. Really?
It's 64% better than regular double glazing, so you can enjoy a more comfortable home all year round. For a free quote, call 01 901 1635 or visit energlaze.ie.
Have you been trying for a baby? Would you like to hear from leading fertility experts about the very latest treatments? Beacon Care Fertility are holding an open evening on Thursday the 8th of September at 7 p.m. Places are free but limited. To register, go to beaconcarefertility.ie. Beacon Care Fertility, where science meets life.
The Ryan Tuberty Show. You managed to portray a kind of psycho brat in a way that no one has equal since. I would say to kids now, if they're out of line, you just say, don't go Veruca on me now. And it's directly referring to you going, Daddy, I wanted to watch it now. I mean, you really nailed it.
Get more from the morning with the Ryan Tuberty Show. Weekdays from 9 a.m. on RTE Radio 1.
Talk to Joe on 1850 715 815.
And Joe at RT.ie. Dermot Keane is in Dublin, 51551. Go ahead, Dermot.
Hi, Joe. Joe, just my point is basically that the biggest problem that Dublin Bus has is that approximately 25% of the people that use the bus service don't have to pay for a ticket. And let me try and explain. Between Dublin Bus and Provincial Bus and the train service, there are about 200 million passenger journeys a year. So approximately 25% don't have to pay. So that's, if everybody was to pay, say, €1 instead of not paying,
Who are the 25%?
they would be probably old age pensioners and their companions.
25%.
Yeah, so I said if you had those 200 million journeys and everybody was to pay €1 for a ticket instead of nothing, and remember you can't even buy a bar of chocolate for €1, that's 50 million that those companies would have to operate their business or to help operate their business. Now whether the drivers are worth their increase is a separate argument altogether. But the big handicap they have is that too many people are using the service and not having to pay for it.
And the whole... Yeah, sorry.
Donal here.
Donal, yes, Donal McLean.
Yeah, that's a bit of a fatuous argument in the sense that the services are there anyway, so it seems to being billed by non-paying. It's not costly anymore to run the service because it's already there.
Well, it seems a bit of a nonsense to have buses operating and to have people on them. But they pay €1 in this day and age is monstrous that you can't even buy a bar of chocolate for. And that's approximately €15 million a year that business could have.
So hang on, so you're presuming, pay €1, you're presuming somebody's going to make 100 journeys a year, €100?
Well, I said there's 200 million journeys a year between the two bus services and the train service. And you throw that into the CIE subvention, that's €50 million a year that the politicians are basically just ignoring.
So you'd be asking old age pensioners to pay €100 a year in busing, in public transport?
Perhaps, yeah, perhaps. It depends on how frequent they use it. But it's a very good service for you. I mean, to get a journey into town for €1 in this day and age is very, very low money.
Yeah, but the problem is, like, there's just been, and there's another demonstration on Saturday week, just to mention it, anti-water charges, and for a lot of people that was less than 100 a year. And the government caved in on that, about the public pressure. Let me bring in, that's just a statement of fact, it's not opinion. Chris Porter, Chris, good afternoon. You're listening to Liam and you're listening to Don, you're listening to Des. Go ahead, Chris.
How you doing? It seems to me that every time Fine Gael gets into the government, they want to, kick around public transport. It's like the bus service in Dublin and the train service seems as if they treat it as if it's the ugly sister. But the nose is Cinderella. Dublin bus serves 100% of the people in Dublin. The Lewis only serves 16%. And if they spend half of the money they spend on the Lewis and corridors, bus corridors, and restocking Dublin bus and paying the drivers, who I think has been an incredibly good service, we would have got real good value for money. And I was looking at a statistic was saying that over 65% of every trip you take on the Lewis is subsidised by the taxpayer. The subvention to Dublin bus is less than 26%. They haven't increased it, they've reduced it. It's one of the lowest subventions, in Europe, in any third or first world country. So I don't know what it is about Fine Gael public transport in Dublin. The thing that annoys me is that you have a good service, it's not broken. These people seem to get the government, they have an ideological roadblock and build a public housing.
But it's not Fine Gael government, it's coalition government at the moment. But they would argue that we didn't initiate this strike. We're not going on strike. It's the bus drivers that are going on strike because they looked for an increase. They went to the Labour Court. The Labour Court made an award, and they decided.
The Labour Court made a award of 8.25% over 3 years. Now that's a ridiculous proposition.
Why would the Labour Court do that? It's comprised of trade unionists. It's comprised of employers and government reps. Why would the Labour Court do that?
Well, the Labour Court,
You're saying there's no credibility.
Not at all. You must be joking. The Labour Court does a great job. They've renamed it actually. I forget what they call it now.
The Labour Relations.
I know, of course. Well, that is a ridiculous offer to people who haven't had a pay increase since 2008. I was looking at a report they did, a survey of people, the most respected profession trade in the country. And bus drivers came out the top ahead of nurses and radio presenters who were paid too much, and lots of other quangoists. I think to drive a great big tin of beans through Dublin with 85 people on it, with the condition of the roads and the absolute courses arse they've made of the city, trying to connect two little Lewis lines. I don't know how those people put up with it, and I'm amazed they haven't gone on strike already. They'll be surprised how much support they have when they do.
Okay, Tony is there as well. Thanks, Chris. Go ahead, Tony.
How are you, Joe? I'm a bit annoyed that some guy is dragging in pensioners into this argument. The pensioners have very little as it is, and what they've earned. I've worked 40 years of my life and I've just got a free travel pass, and I think it's disgraceful that this guy, I think it's like a bit of a clown, to be honest with you, Tony isn't. He's
gone now. No, Dermot is there. Sorry, he was there, but he's making the point. Why you were saying leave the pensioners alone? Let them.
Yeah, why drag pensions into an argument? This is nothing to do with pensions, this strike. You know what I mean? This is to do with people trying to get extra money. The pensioners have lost an awful lot over the years, as you know, phone allowances and everything, like, you know.
Okay. What do you think of the bus driver?
Well, I sympathise in a way with them, as I say. They have a hard job, like, you know, but, you know, I worked as a civil servant, and, like, I was penalised because of saying I ended up paying a pension levy and everything, you know, but now the private sector don't pay, you know.
Okay, you're going to leave it at that. Thanks, Don. Thanks, David. Thanks, Tony. Eugene, all the other callers back after this. 51151.
Talk to Joe on 1850 715 815.
You're ready for a new smartphone. Do you A, stick with the same old network because changing is too much hassle? B, spend your weekend traipsing around the shops? Or C, Carphone Warehouse? We've got everything the network stores have, and then some. And backed by popular demand, the iPhone 5S for free. With all-you-can-eat data for just $25.41 a month. That's the best deal out there. We've checked. But hurry, this exclusive offer will end soon. Carphone Warehouse. We compare, you save. Subject to 24-month contract, terms and conditions apply.
RTE Radio 1.
Jean-Michel Jarre. Electronica World Tour. The godfather of electronic music brings his staggering live show to 3 Arena on October 10th. Jean-Michel Jarre, live at 3 Arena this October.
Live music updates on RTE Radio 1.
Talk to Joe on 1850 715 815.
And Joe at RT.ie. Yesterday we heard from a witness to what happened up in the North Circular Road on Friday afternoon when another attempt to assassinate a member of the Hutch family took place around 5:30. And a family friend of the Hutch family phoned in, and she explained that, among other things, Mr. Hutch, Mr. Johnny Hutch, was transporting his disabled daughter when he was attacked, believe it or not, so in broad daylight. Walter Kilcullen's retired guard. Walter, you were in the area on Friday afternoon.
Joe, I was actually with my special needs daughter. My wife and I have a beautiful daughter with special needs, and I was going out to the Leinster match in RDS, and I passed down by Ambulance Corner shortly after incident report, and I wasn't aware of it afterwards, and I just can't believe it. You know, these criminals, they deserve the name criminals, these monsters would stoop so low to try and assassinate Daddy with his special needs daughter. It's so sad. That's the way we've reached. There's not what I can say about it, Joe.
And what can be done about it?
I don't know, this really goes back, this is historical, Joe, I suppose. If you go back, first of all, I go back to the 70s when Jenny Mullins was a detective sergeant at Dublin Castle, and a few of his colleagues, they were seeing there was a drug problem in Ireland, and the management didn't want to know. I suppose they were under the thumb of the government at the time, where they had the sand, and nobody wanted to know there was drugs in Ireland, but it's like there was no sex in Ireland, the WHO discovered it. And we're paying the price now, more recently with the recession and the cutbacks, the travel cutbacks in the Cathedral, and
well, there's no, in terms of resources now, I think everyone agrees, including the Garda Union, that there's no lack of resources in terms of the overtime, etc., for the current operation in Dublin. Permanent checkpoints outside many houses, permanent Gardaí, more than 3, it seems on most occasions, located outside many of the Hutch family houses. So there doesn't, and the Garda Commissioner saying she has been given all the resources she needs.
I agree, Joe. Yeah, but how long is this going to go on for? You know, there has to be an end to this. It's only a matter of time, unfortunately. I'm afraid that the guard will be shot, either wounded or whatever. But it's these people are. This is controlled from outside the state. That is the problem. We're a national, the Garda are a national police force, start off in districts, divisions, regions, and then national. But now we have a situation, something like the EU deciding on the Apple tax, and I go back to the Apple tax again, you know, that somebody out in a foreign country is deciding who's going to be shorty or next. And the killers he's using aren't on a payroll. They're people who owe debts, and that's the majority, that's the fact of it. They owe debts. Either they haven't paid for drugs or a drug consignment has been found by the guards.
What way are you using this operating? That the Kinahan gang have said anyone who shoots, God forbid even the phrase, anyone who shoots a member of the Hutch family, regardless of who the person who shoots is, will collect money from the Kinahan gang, is it? It's like a bounty.
It's, well, I know about the money, a lot of it is they're paying off a debt. I actually physically get money, they pay off a debt. They don't do the kills, they shot themselves. That's the situation. Yeah, that is the situation. A lot of these people are drugged up, they're on coke. They don't know who they're shooting. That's why the so unfortunate people are being shot mistakenly. Essentially, these guys aren't lost in the loop. They have a description. And you and I could be together, Joe, they might make you shoot Joe and they shoot me. That's the way it is. If it wasn't so serious, it's farcical. But,
okay, now, a friend of the Hutch family have drawn our attention to this letter that appeared in the Sunday World. And it's an open letter to feuding gangs. It was sent anonymously to the Sunday World. But as I say, somebody has pointed out this letter to us. Now, it's obviously, if you read it, people will realise it. Just give you a background. It's obviously written from somebody living in the Drimna, Crumlin, Walkerstown area. If I'm not too bold to say this, the David they refer to in the letter is David Warren, who was killed that day in February in the Regency, which seemed, you know, was the killing of Gary Hutch almost to the day a year ago in Spain. That actually sparked this. The retaliation was the Regency in February when David Warren was killed, and then it's been non-stop ever since, and it's been the Hutch, apart from the Institute, rightly remind us of, Walter, it's been the Hutch, and many of the Hutch family are innocent as well, it should be pointed out, and everyone who was shot dead, including David Warren, including Gary Hutch, or anyone else you may name, have no right, nobody has any right to assassinate them. It is a crime, and they should be brought to justice. But this is the letter that was sent to the Sunday World anonymously, and as I say, the David they refer to is David Warren, who was shot in the Regency, and the letter goes, "We all know you. We've grown up in fear of your name, in awe of your money and power. Drugs ruined us in the 80s, and we ran the dealers out. Did your business quietly, and to our eternal fall we let you. When David Warren was killed, we for the most part understood he was family and it was wrong. But a line has been crossed. We are human, we are decent, and we care for our own. Perhaps this is why we indulged your grief for David. But now we grieve. We grieve for Trevor O'Neill. We grieve for his partner Suzanne. We grieve for his children. We grieve for a time when we could innocently talk to another Irishman abroad without fear his surname was a death sentence. While Trevor may not have been the intended target, if we consider the person who was, what was his crime? Being a Hutch, having the wrong surname. Well, his partner and his children, they're ours too, so hands and guns off. We tell you now that we will take no more. Trevor, more than being one of us, was all of us. The average man who worked hard and loved his family. He was good, he was funny, he was kind, and in ending his life, you ended our tolerance. End this, end it now, because there are more of us ordinary, decent people than there are of you. We are your neighbours. We are the parents at the school gates. We have no faces, but we know yours, and we want peace. Trust us, you do too." And I think if people listen to that letter, they will understand what side is the wrong word is coming from, but it is actually saying to the people who have committed 90% of the murders in this horrific feud, begging them to stop. Do you think it'll have any effect, Walter?
That's a fabulous letter, very well worded, Joe, and it echoes what I believe that definitely more than 90%, almost 100% of the people in the south inner city where I worked for 21 years, and the south city and the north city of Dublin, people in the inner city of Dublin, and they're decent, honourable people, the majority, and they don't tolerate this. They feel the hurt now, and these boys have crossed the line. These monsters that have been created, honestly, they've created these monsters, and they will let go their lords can't be touched. And decent people get up and march or do something. I don't know what to do. You have to trust the guards again, trust us, trust the police. Come forward. I know it's an awful price to pay, like if you thought you were coming forward and telling us these things, your life is on the line. But all our lives on the line. My life is on the line. My daughter got into town, you know.
Well, in fairness, like we spoke yesterday about Johnny Hutch, as Rachel pointed out yesterday, Johnny Hutch has lost his brother, his nephew and his son in this feud. His brother, his nephew and his son, all within 12 months. There have been assassination attempts on a number of other members of his family. Johnny Hutch is innocent. There's photographs of him by Mark O'Reilly in a lot of the papers today of Johnny Hutch talking to the unmarked guarded car, which contains 3 or 4 armed gardaí that apparently sits outside his house, and looks like from the photographs, he was going over to be civil to them, and I'm sure he appreciates their protection. So there is a lot of respect for the guards out there.
Oh, I agree with you, John. I actually know a number of the Hutch family, and I've known them in my career, and I always found them okay to deal with. But unfortunately, the bigger picture is the Regency, look back and it wasn't a great idea. It wasn't a great idea, and unfortunately it's backfired because these boys out abroad didn't take it so well. You know, the Regency was a great show, but I'd say if it was done again, whoever was behind it may not have done it because the price is being paid now, and that's unfortunately the way it is, Joe. Yeah.
Okay, return to text Waterford Colin. Thanks indeed. 51551 Joe at RT.ie and 1857 15815.
Talk to Joe on 1850 715 815.
TTZ Sherry Fitzgerald is being transformed and joining forces with Cushman and Wakefield, one of the world's top 3 commercial real estate advisors. Now your Irish team can offer a whole new world of property opportunities, leveraging our unique global research and future trend analysis. With access to international occupiers, investors, and financing for our clients, wherever you need property advice, whether it's in Ireland or globally, there's only one place to go. Cushman and Wakefield, built to lead.
This September, you're here to assassinate Reinhard Heidegger. Witness the untold story of the most daring mission of World War II. Killian Murphy, Chief Truman. What is your mission? Operation Enterport. May God be with you. If you're arrested, there will be no escape. 4 stars, says Empire. It's a genuine triumph. Enter board in cinema September 9, certificate 15A.
Talk to Joe on 1850 715 815.
And just a reminder, that statement from Dublin Bus about the strike on Thursday and Friday. The economy is Thursday and Friday, job column is Thursday and Friday. We've now been told by Dublin Bus that the strike actually starts at effectively just before 9 o'clock tomorrow night, because we're withdrawing all buses back to the garage at 9 o'clock tomorrow night. And this is called the Dublin Bus statement, which is the programme is to ensure the safe return of all buses to the garage. If the 79 or whatever it's been the terminus used to be, if the bus is left at the terminus, my 87-year-old mother's going to take it for a joyride or something. I don't know why the strike has to start at 9 o'clock tomorrow night. Effectively, this seems to be a Dublin Bus decision. Chris, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Joe.
You're listening to the debate about the strike, and is it just, okay, on the one hand, there's the argument about the pay and the Lewis scenario, and then the other hand does this justify such a strike that would affect so many people? Go ahead, Chris.
Well, I actually don't believe it does now. I was on Dublin Bus recently, and I would have to say, they were wonderful people. I have no problem with Dublin Bus drivers, but I just think that we're coming out of a recession. We're not out of it yet, but according to the papers, we're so far out of it that everything is hunky-dory, which it isn't. And I think that just too many people are saying, we want more money, we want more money, we want more money. A large part of the problems that happened, and I lost my own job as well, was because people couldn't afford to pay the wages that were being asked. And this is what's
happening again with Lewis, with the bus drivers, and with, you know, the teachers. And I'm not saying these people are not deserving more pay, but I'm just saying if it's not there, it's not there.
Where were you working, Chris?
I was working in the hospitality industry. And it was a business decision that I had to go.
How long did you work there for?
31 years.
Did they make you redundant, or?
Oh yes, yeah. And I was made redundant. And I was doing the figures. I was the person doing the figures. I could see it coming down the line, and I could see it for a long time coming down the line. And you know, so I mean, I'm not bitter or upset. I'm still very good friends with the people I work for, and I always will be.
And why did they let you go?
Because I suppose after being in the position for a very long time, I was quite highly paid. I wasn't dealing with customers, and I think that's probably maybe the main reason that when I wasn't dealing with customers, and I don't think it was the fault of the business. I think somebody else
Did they
out some time.
Did they replace you?
No, not in any manner at all.
Not replace you, technology, or?
I was I had about 10 different hats on me, but before I left, I was, you know, I suppose doling out my job to different people and making sure that the jobs would still be done.
And how have you managed to do since you lost your job after 3 decades?
Well, I set up my own business, and there was skills that I received in the hotel industry, you know, teaching manual handling, first aid, food hygiene, CPR, AED, but I'm going to working maybe 60 to 70 hours a week when I get work. Some weeks I might have one day, another week I might have, you know, a lot more. But I also drive buses. I do whatever I have to do. So I mean, I'm a bus driver as well.
Let me bring Eugene Falls. Stay there, Chris. It went for Eugene Falls. Is in Ballina Tip. Go ahead, Eugene.
Good afternoon. So, just in relation to the claim from Dublin Bus or parity with the Lewis drivers, I'd have no problem with that if they accepted the same terms across the board that Lewis drivers were on in terms of the on pensions, etc., and sick pay. But it seems to be forgotten now whenever either semi-state or state employees are looking for parity, that they don't look at the benefits that they do have, as they have a guaranteed pension entitlement, and obviously they have virtually unlimited sick pay schemes, etc. And there are a lot of ancillary payments that drivers get in addition to their standard pay, which obviously Lewis drivers would not get. And it seems to be cherry-picking to just go after parity on the wages from themselves.
And what are you saying, that Lewis workers don't get bank holiday payment, or?
Well, Lewis workers don't have a guaranteed pension in the same way that Dublin bus drivers have.
And how do you know that?
Well, one, they don't seem to have the security of tenure that Dublin bus drivers would have.
I think 50 old is effectively a private company, is that your point?
Exactly, and they could actually lose the contract. So, effectively, those drivers could be redundant at that point in time. And I think those things, you need to look at it holistically, really, and say that, you know, perhaps wages in some areas of the public sector don't match those in the private sector, but there are benefits that they do have.
that the Lewis, even the Lewis company, is performance related, and I believe during the strike times they had to pay some fines to the government.
That's true.
Whereas our Dublin bus is a completely subsidised government service.
Now, in fairness, the Lewis is subsidised as well. That track that's being driven through Dublin is being built by the taxpayer. The trams, now I know in many cases about the new buses and most of the buses, the trams are owned by the taxpayer. Viola have the gig to run the trams.
And they applied, as you were saying, they went forward to a tender process with, I'm sure, many other companies, and they are responsible to their employees as well. At the same time, Joe, I just want to make one little point that maybe might be, is that my whole tweet, we are the Joe public. Personally, I've run into the Dublin bus. I've been using the service for 30 years. I've seen huge changes. In saying that, the Dublin bus drivers do a good amount of job work themselves, and they are listening to different comments. I do wonder, Joe, have you ever noticed, though, that there's no data available on Dublin Bus's service, no transparency? We talked about this earlier on, about their wages, about their performance, etc., etc. It is a semi-state body or a full state body. Why don't we try to introduce into something like Dublin Bus a performance-related payment scheme? So therefore, the same as the Lewis, if the Lewis drivers don't turn up, they don't get paid. If the Dublin Bus people want to have the same parity and the buses don't come up, I heard your caller earlier complaining about one of the routes. I had the very same problem time and time again. There may be genuine reasons, so I don't want to go down that road. But what I would like you to do, Joe, is that I've looked through Dublin Bus. There is no official complaints procedure without writing it. There's no transparency when buses are late. And I wonder if you could take kind of a brief poll. You might be in a position to talk to the Dublin public and see what they think about the service they receive from Dublin Bus. This might go forward a little bit. If you find the responses, I think you will find, will be people are very much disagreeing with it. It may kind of bring the forefront that the drivers are not really doing their job good enough. I would think that if the drivers are doing an excellent job in Dublin City, people would be quite happy to pay them. But I think you're listening time and time again to people who are complaining about this service. It is our public service. And then this whole idea that we should be paid the same as a private service, no, people are in disagreement with that. I wonder if you could do a poll like that, maybe through Twitter or something.
Yeah, sure. But by the way, on Twitter, you can, if you tweet and tag Dublin Bus, you normally do get a reply. Yeah, I'm just saying, why do you say there's no system to complain to Dublin Bus?
Joe, you and your researchers, can you tell us how many buses were late last year?
Okay, well, no one can. Yeah,
okay, but why not, Joe?
And you're... Okay.
But my point is, Joe, it's awesome, right? We are people taking first.
We've one researcher, and Simon is the hardest working researcher, and they're all hard working, by the way. So, no, but you're saying is like the way airlines have a comparative system. Okay.
We are paying for Dublin Bus. We are paying the drivers. We want to pay them. We want them to be happy in their jobs. We want them to provide a service. But many, many times, I think many of your listeners will think this, that we've been left without the service. I'll give you
Now, that being said, Brendan, anyone trying to drive a Dublin bus on time at the minute through Dublin City, the roadworks are totally unpredictable. There's no way you could factor
they are, Joe.
You know, I'm queuing at one-way systems.
But my point is, Joe, you recognise and I recognise that. So who are the people who plan the timetables and the routes? Are they not able to recognise that? We are paying them as well. The drivers, I'm sure, are able to tell you how long the bus takes on a Tuesday at 3 o'clock.
Okay, well, stay with us, Brandon, Chris, right. Because John, you walk a Dublin bus.
I do indeed, Joe. How are you?
Good, thanks. And you're listening. You'll address John and Brandon, Chris and Brandon there, John. Go ahead. What's your own situation?
But my own situation is I have to rely on the family income supplement to survive. And that's because of the low wages in Dublin Bus. So whoever's saying that we're on great money, you know, obviously doesn't know the ins and outs of Dublin Bus and their pay structure. Do you know what I mean? Like, I have to rely on family income supplement each week to boost my wages up to a standard of living. And I'm not the only driver. That's about...
Okay, and how many children do you have, can I ask?
Well, at the moment, I did have a 6, but now I have 3 because I gradually moved away. But with 3, I'm still entitled to family income supplement because my wages is not up to the...
Okay, and do you support the strike, John?
Oh, I'm 100% behind the strike.
Can you explain, maybe I just want to be fair, can you explain why it's starting at 5 to 9 tomorrow night?
that's the company's decision. I think that's got to do with the...
Did they ever do it before?
No. I think the company have been instructed by another pair to get their buses off the road.
What's the other pair?
The National Bus Authority.
But they own the buses, do they?
Yeah.
They're saying, what are they saying? They're afraid people might rob the buses.
Well, before they threatened that they'd have people to drive. Before they have people to drive.
So you're saying the MTA is playing hardball?
Yeah.
And you say the NTA do this deliberately so people get onto Live Line getting even more annoyed about the strike saying we think...
Exactly, because I was in work today and I did not have one person, and I carried 2 children people today that had anything to say about the strike. They all supported us.
What are they going to do on Thursday and Friday?
They'll support us. They'll still be there in 3 weeks' time before we stand the strike is finished and we have what we want.
And John, do you think, well, tell us about that, do you think this, because Dublin Bus have said nothing, except we go to the, and we've been to the Labour Court and we urge you to accept the Labour Court. Do you think this is going to, well, there's maybe 6 days planned so far. Do you think it'll develop quickly into an all-out strike?
Well, eventually, it's looking that way at the moment if they want to play hardball.
Well, this one has crept up on people quite quickly now.
No, this is a Spanish one that works by the company themselves to make the drivers look bad. That's all it is. Why would drivers have to claim, family income supplement and, say people are in a good money? But not in a good money.
Well, then the figures, people are sending me in figures now. They're tweeting the figures they say from the NBRU for 5-day drivers and 4-day drivers. Does that ring a bell? Does that mean anything that crazy? 5-day drivers.
There is 4-day drivers. They have to cover the weekend. What they're doing there with the 4-day drivers, they have to cover weekend work where the Dublin Bus are cutting back on they're saving money, they're cutting back. They're on a different contract to us.
Okay, well, are you a 5-day driver?
I'm a 5-day driver there.
But just there's things circulating on Twitter now about 4-day drivers and 5-day drivers, and they're saying if you work a bank holiday, what you get paid extra. If you work overtime on a Sunday, what you get. If your shift allowance,
That's if you work them. If you don't work them, you don't get them.
I know that. And they say,
I apply for them, but I don't get them. The reason I apply for them, I get them so I can have a good standard of living, but I'm not able to.
And the
48-hour rule,
and why can't you get a Sunday?
Because the staff, they have the staff there to cover that, because they have the 4-day staff that were there to cover the Sunday work.
Oh, and when I say 5-day driver, you mean Monday to Friday, is it?
No, a 5-day driver is actually Monday to Sunday. They still have 2 days off during the week. The 4 day is just specifically for the weekend.
What I got to say with it, John, more after this break, 51551.
Join the show on 1850 715 815.
It's almost 3 o'clock on RTE Radio 1. Time to teach the nation about contamination with Repack.
If they cut off both my hands, I will compose with the pen between my teeth, said Dmitry Shostakovich of Life Under Stalin. Stalin died. Shostakovich lived. Unfettered, he revealed his mighty 10th Symphony. Hear it performed by the RTE National Symphony Orchestra and conductor Michal Nestelovich. Friday, October 14th at the National Concert Hall. Tickets from €15. See rte.ie/NSO.
The RTE National Symphony Orchestra. Love your orchestras. Composing the Island, the massive celebration of classical music in Ireland from 1916 to 2016. Orchestra, choral, chamber, instrumental and song. Wednesday, September 7th to Sunday at the National Concert Hall. With all tickets just €10. See rte.ie/1916 or nch.ie. Sponsored by Board Namona.
RTE, supporting the arts. Research shows that in Ireland, not all of us get enough sunshine vitamin D.
Vitamin D is crucial
At every age.
because it helps our bodies absorb calcium for healthy bones.
That's why Avonmore Supermilk contains
All the daily vitamin D you need in just one glass.
So whether you're
24, 4,
or 64,
switch to Avonmore Supermilk. Switch to Avonmore Supermilk.
supporting healthy bones for life.
Talk Talk to Joe on 1850 715 815.
And Joe and RT.E. Teresa Smith is in Dublin and is married to a bus driver. Teresa, good afternoon.
Hi, Joe.
Is he going on strike?
He is, and he doesn't want to go on strike, but he has no choice but to go out. Because they haven't got a rise in 8 years. And like, there's only one person working in our house. We've a lot of serious medical conditions. So he has to have a wage coming in, and their wages are crap anyway, you know. And like, in recent years, there's been a lot of subvention cuts from Dublin Bus and the regulations with the 48-hour week. Like, drivers can't work the hours they used to work anymore because of all these regulations with the EU, you know.
They can't work.
And like that previous driver, you cannot get a Sunday to work in there. Like, my husband's on a 5-week shift rota, and he might get one Sunday in 5 weeks.
And is it good news for your family when he does get a Sunday, Teresa?
No, it's great news, because I can't get a medical card, you know, and like, I have a lot of expense medically. I have to leave the country once a month to get my medicines, because I have to drive to Northern Ireland, because they're so expensive here, and I could not afford the monthly...
And Teresa, I understand that a lot of people do, unfortunately, but Teresa, do you think the strike will, like, I take the point that they haven't had a wage increase like so many people since 2008, but they did get an offer through the Labour Court.
Yeah, but like, there's a percent of a difference between the offer they got from the Labour Court. I don't know why they're being made to go out and strike for the sake of 1% in the difference. You know, it's absolutely ridiculous. You know, I just hope they can't get together and talk, because, like, the Minister for Transport, Shane Ross, he needs to get his act together and step in and do something, because it's the ordinary people that are suffering, you know, and it's not fair. I have hospital appointments this week. I don't want him on strike. I don't want any driver out on strike, because they're all ordinary people.
And from listening to him, Teresa, do you think it's going to escalate quite quickly if the company don't?
I think, yeah, because the drivers are suffering, like, they're suffering every week. They're under a lot of stress because, like, their wages aren't good, you know, and, like that previous caller, like, having to get extra funding, you know, from social welfare, like, that's what they're surviving on, you know, like, it's not right.
But your husband's going on strike for, say, 6 to 8 days in the next month, and if it gets worse, how will you manage?
I don't know how we're going to manage. Really, we'll be on the breadline, you know, like, I don't know how we're going to survive. Like, I mean, there's health insurance, like, and they cut the tax relief on health insurance. The government have a lot of questions to answer. You know, how are people supposed to survive?
Okay, so it's all that adding up, all the increases in taxes, the reductions in allowances,
exactly,
etc., etc. Okay.
And I'll tell you another thing. A lot of drivers now, they're tied to this 48-hour week, and Dublin Bus to cover 3 hours overtime in a week, they're bringing in 3 drivers, because maybe one fellow might be 47 and a half and he's not allowed to work because he can't do 3 hours.
Those regulations, okay.
So they're bringing 2 or 3 drivers to do 3 hours overtime.
Okay.
When one driver could do it.
Okay, Teresa, we'll talk again. Thanks indeed, Teresa Smith. Thanks, Sean. Thanks to all our callers. Rebecca Meehan produced, and Ray Darcy is next.
1850 715 815 stays open until 3:15 p.m. or email Joe at rte.ie.
Thanks very much, Joe. 3 o'clock on RTE Radio 1. Time to go to the newsroom at Eileen Dunn.
Good afternoon. A man arrested in Northern Ireland yesterday in connection with the gangland murder of David Byrne at the Regency Hotel in Dublin in February is to challenge attempts to have him extradited to the Republic. At Belfast Recorder's Court, the case against Kevin Murray was adjourned until Friday, when the judge will decide whether or not he's to be freed on bail, pending a full hearing of the extradition application. Here's Brendan Wright of our Northern staff.
46-year-old Kevin Murray was arrested in Strabane in County Tyrone yesterday on foot of an extradition warrant from the Republic, alleging that he was involved in the murder of David Byrne in a gangland shooting in the Regency Hotel in Dublin last February. This afternoon, at a hearing in Belfast, a lawyer representing the High Court in Dublin said it was the view of the Gardaí that Kevin Murray had played a central role in the murder of David Byrne during a boxing weigh-in at the Regency Hotel. The lawyer for Murray said his client was opposing the extradition application, and he applied for him to be freed on bail pending a full hearing of the case in the next few weeks. That application was opposed and the case was adjourned until Friday, when the judge will rule if Kevin Murray should be released on bail. Brendan Wright, RTE News, Belfast.
The independent review of the HSE's Oris Attracted Care Home for people with intellectual disabilities in County Mayo has said there was widespread control of its mostly elderly residents, which was generally imposed for the ease of managing the service and the convenience of management and staff. It has recommended that residents who are now ready to move to non-institutional settings be supported to do so without delay. The Minister for Health, Simon Harris, has said he now expects to publish a €40 million plan to deal with hospital emergency department overcrowding later this week. Details of the winter initiative were expected to be unveiled today. Speaking as he arrived to a meeting of the Emergency Department Task Force, Mr Harris said he wanted to ensure that the plan was the best possible and that money spent on it was effective. Fianna Fáil's spokesman on health, Billy Kelleher, told RTE News that a crisis existed in emergency departments across the country and further investment was needed in health.
I mean, we do need more money. There needs to be investment across our health services, and we accept that. I mean, you look at the fact that the demographics are changing dramatically. You've an increasing population, so you're going to have further demands on our health services. So we do need to invest. But in the meantime, the issue of home care, home care powers, for example, could be addressed with small sums of money that can move a lot of people from the hospital setting to the home setting. That in itself would free up large numbers of beds to deal with the urgent cases.
Dublin Bus has said it will terminate services on all bus routes at 9 o'clock tomorrow night ahead of industrial action by union members on Thursday and Friday in a dispute over pay. Dublin Bus said it was ending services 3 hours before the industrial action begins at midnight tomorrow to ensure the return of buses to each depot.
RTE Radio 1 weather with Aer Lingus. With direct flights to Hartford, Connecticut launching this September, when Smart wants to discover New England, Smart flies Aer Lingus.
Warm and humid today with many areas remaining dry. Some rain or drizzle, mainly in western coastal counties and in parts of Connacht and Ulster. Highest temperatures 19 to 24 degrees, warmest in the east. And that's the news and weather, Ray.
Thanks, Eileen. Thank you very much.
The Ray Darcy Show on RTE Radio 1 with the Volkswagen Golf range. So many, there's something to suit everyone.
Afternoon on this Tuesday afternoon, 51551 if you want to contact us via text. If it's an email, ray@rte.ie. The weather is remarkable, isn't it? It is remarkable. Everybody's remarking on the weather, which makes it remarkable. Believe it or not, parts of Ireland are hotter than Mexico and Australia today. So there. Put that in your hot, humid pipe and smoke. It's amazing. Advice from Ed Aaron is to get out and enjoy these conditions while they last. 18 to 24 degrees. I was out for a run this morning, and you know when you start the day and you think, oh no, this is going to be one of those days. I was running with the dog, and I run around UCD there, and Brian Mullins, the former Dublin footballer, him who used to play midfield and had hands the size of shovels, he's the head of sport in UCD. I don't know if you knew that or not. Anyway, I sort of know him through Jenny's family, and as I was running, he was cycling to work. So I sidled up to him and said, "How are you, Brian? How are things?" So we were chatting away, he was cycling, I was running, the dog was there, it was all great. We were talking about why he was in so early, and he was saying, well, it's Freshers Week, or it's whatever. 5,500 new students entering UCD around this time. And I said, how many students do you have in total? 27,000 students in UCD. That's bigger population than most towns in Ireland. Anyway, I was asking about football, and he was saying if Mayo could get over the psychological thing, that there's something wrong with their psychology, well then it might be able to beat Dublin in the All-Ireland football final. And he's decided to have an opinion because he was a county footballer. I don't know how many All-Irelands he won back in the day. 70, wasn't it? Anyway, so finished the chat. He was going one way, I was going the other. Great to talk to you, Brian. Good luck. And just as I was leaving him, there was a little lit wood, sort of a raised area beyond which there was mulch. And what happened, of course, fell face down. And you know what happens then? You're not worried about any injury. It's the embarrassment of it all. It's the embarrassment. Hey, girl, are you okay? Oh, of course I'm okay. Oh, of course I'm okay. He thinks like anybody else. okay? But he's embarrassed. And he keeps shouting at me, I'm okay. I'm okay. Anyway, the good news is I'm okay. That was the beginning of my day. Not a great beginning to the day. And Dave, he started his day off McDonald's, Parnell Street, Dublin, 7:50 a.m. It says, morning Tuesday, 6th September, 7:50 a.m. Alan Brinky and McDonald's, Parnell Street, Dublin. Background, pipe music. Guess what? Yeah, you know what it's going to be. Which one? White Christmas by Bing Crosby. Is it too early? Yes, it is, Dave. Are we all gone mad? Yes, they are, Dave. That's a bit crazy now. You have to get Halloween out of the way before you start playing Christmas tunes. Maybe it was a mistake. You might put a call in. Vinny was on as well. Here's a bit of good news for you. Last night, the Wicklow Brewery in Red Cross, County Wicklow, won the prestigious award for Best Ale in the World at the London International Beer Challenge. It's the first time an Irish brewery has won this award, competing with over 30 other countries around the world. The name of the beer is Hopnut, spelled Hopknut. It's pale ale and uses Irish ingredients. So well done to everybody involved in the Wicklow Brewery there, Red Cross, County Wicklow, on that award at the London International Beer Challenge. Ronnie's been on. He said, I was listening last Thursday, Friday, heard you mention Drumahare in County Leitrim. There was a kind of a passing comment in relation to what to do if you faced a bear. I was curious as to how or why you should mention Drumahare, because it's not a village you would hear mentioned very often on national radio, except for maybe Ronan Collins. The reason my curiosity was stirred is because I was born in the beautiful village of Drumahare, and I still visit when I can. So I was wondering, the fact that you mentioned this beautiful remote village, have you visited recently, or have you and I grown up in relation to this very scenic area? Thank you, Ronnie. Ronnie, I don't know is the answer. I think I met somebody last week who was from Drumahare, and it was just there in the brain. The brain's a very strange organ, isn't it? And it just came out. I was going around the country looking for place names in various counties, and Drumahare came out when I said Leitrim, Ballylickey when I said Cork, I don't know what else. It's an interesting thing though, when you think of the county, what place name do you think of each? Apart from the obvious, like Cork, Clare. Well, yes, it's an interesting thing. Maybe it's not that interesting though. Anyway, Ronnie, we've nothing coming up. I think I just met somebody. Maybe the fact that Drumahare rhymes with bear, maybe that was the whole thing. Michael lives in Canada, and he says, I'm about to finish my 6-week parental leave here in Canada. I'll go back to work on Thursday. The government paid my 45% of my salary, while my company topped it up with the other 55. It's been an amazing experience, and my family is the stronger for it. My 2 boys, Alexander who turns 4 on Sunday, and Harrison who celebrates his first birthday tomorrow, have had 6 weeks with both my wife and I. We spent the time travelling to the Rocky Mountains, camping in the backyard, and generally just having good quality family time. This time is something that we will all cherish forever, and I hope fathers in and around the Vale of their new benefit, although to be honest, 2 weeks seems too short in a step in the right direction. And he's saying that when he listens to Talk Radio 1, as he does on a regular basis, it makes him feel homesick. But he says, we're coming home in 3 weeks, and boys will get to meet all their cousins and aunts and uncles and have the crack, which they will think is super awesome. Super awesome. And Canadified, that's a word. We were talking about the crack last week because we've been mentioning this Danish phenomenon called hygge. I think that's how Ula told me to pronounce H-Y-G-G-E, hygge. Anyway, and we were saying that maybe Irish people should write a book on the crack, because that's uniquely Irish and something we try and share with people around the world. There's an article about hygge in The Independent today, and Mike Viking, the CEO of the Happiness Research Institute of Copenhagen, has mentioned in it. He has a book on the whole phenomenon of hygge, and we will be talking to him on Friday. So there. And that, though on watch, yes, just on the watch yesterday, we got an email from Marie, who had found the watch 20 years ago at Leopardstown Racecourse on St. Stephen's Day, and she wants to reunite it with its owner. It says to Martin from the staff at Lawless's, 2702-1994 on the back. We've had a number of leads on that, from people who got in touch to say they live near Lawless's hotel in Auckland, County Wicklow, and they're following it up for us. And they say they might know Martin. He may have left the hotel 20 years ago and moved to London, and they may be able to contact him on Facebook. So that's that, which is great. What else is there? This is. I was at Jason Byrne recently, and he does a brilliant routine on getting off a plane, disembarking, because we're there, and whatever length of time the flight is, whether it be a quick one from London or a long.
but you sort of, I saw you'd been interviewed by Pierce Morgan, and you were going, well, that was all business and saying I was the king of dance and all that sort of thing. That was sort of a facade.
Well, listen, business is business. I mean, geez, Pierce is a tough guy, isn't he? They was, you know, just ain't talking about bad times. Yeah, no, he's a lovely fellow, but you know, that was a 3.5-hour interview cut down.
Was it?
Yeah, to whatever it was. But yeah, he's a great guy, and it was a good interview. It was a really good interview.
And I suppose people here want to know about your Irish situation, and it was, you know, highly publicised that Castle Hyde was put on the market, and we were just checking, they're still on the market. So where is your home now? Because in that interview you said that Castle Hyde was your spiritual home.
Yeah, well, Castle Hyde was a very special place to me. Unfortunately, we've recently had a fire there. You know, not all consuming, but it'll take quite a bit of time to put it all back together. And when the shows were in Cork, that set us back a little bit. But I've had a home in London for, see, 25 years now about, and I've been living there most of the time. And that's where we are now. So we travel all the time now.
Yeah, and Michael St. James, also known as Cheeky, is he 8 or 9?
You've done your research.
Is he 8 or 9?
I'm looking at Owen here. He's giving me the thumbs up. He's 9. Yeah, he's 9.
Does he dance? I suppose it's an obvious question.
Well, you know, it's not me pushing him. He doesn't done any Irish dancing, or certainly nothing formally. But yeah, he certainly has the rhythm. He knows all the moves, and it's more modern stuff, I think, than probably what I'd be capable of. But that's fine.
Isn't it funny? Because, you know, I'm sure they'll never bother doing this, but to find out if there's a genetic basis to it. Because, you know, having me as who's a dance man from the river dance, and you as a dad, and then, you know, you come to have it, I think, well, yeah, my first wife,
yeah, he wants to have something in there. I know he likes all different types of music. When he loves Irish music, it's nice to know that he's got great rhythm. He's always tapping away and always drumming away, and it's no weight to carry, you know, to be able to enjoy music, dance, and rhythm. It's a beautiful thing.
Would you ever do strictly from dancing, or Dancing with the Stars, or whatever they call it?
No, I've been asked to judge on them, and I don't really like doing television, so I declined. I did Dancing with the Stars once, but Glenn Goodman is a buddy of mine, and he took some time off, so I went and filled in as a judge on that. But you know, I don't think that would be my cup of tea.
So you're sort of an impresario now, right? Is that, you know, what do you see your role in life as now?
I don't think about that very honest with you. For me, it's enjoying my life with my son and my wife. We do a little bit of things, and we travel a lot, and we involved in a few other things here and there, just enough to keep me busy and be happy. And I train every morning. I run at Hyde Park every day for no other reason than I enjoy it, and try to get to Ireland every chance I get. See all my friends. I Saturday yesterday with my dearest friend Sherman. Germano and Dave Egan and myself, we have been great friends, and spent a lot of time on little pub tours around Dublin, so he'll be sorely missing here. May God rest his soul.
Sorry to hear that. And the fitness thing, because, you know, you sort of acquired a number of injuries over the years, because what you do to your body doing Irish dancing, I would say it's worse than most sports.
Yeah, it can be good for you, but you know, there were some years when I did almost 300 shows in
that in Limerick. Will we, because there was a hint in one of the interviews that you had something planned, something else. Did I read that wrongly, or?
Yeah, you know, I've got a few things in the pipeline.
Are big things that...
Well, I just say there's nothing big in the world anymore, is there? You know, well, we won't just carry on to keep on doing what we're doing, and something good will happen. And, you know, I take one day at a time. For me right now is take a little time to enjoy my life and my wife and my son, and to my mother's still alive, thank God, so I'll spend a little bit more time with her, and hopefully spend a lot more time in Ireland and here at this beautiful Shelburne hotel.
I'm just looking, Elvis's salted caramel milk, raspberry compote, dark chocolate, mousse encased in a dark chocolate glaze. And they all have then a miniature version of your art on top. And then the playful one, strawberry macaroon filled with strawberry vanilla cheesecake, dark chocolate, strawberry.
はい、今日はディングル半島、航空を出発しまして、本当は、グランカリフに行くはずだったんですけど、ウェザーフォーキャスト天気が悪くて、まあ行っても写真を撮っても絵にならないということで、急遽ディングル経由のスケリックマイケルということで、雨のディングル半島走っています。先ほどもスリアヘッドだったけども、霧が深くて、まあ中型のバンが来ちゃうとすれ違えないですね。あのおじさん焦っちゃってテールランプぶつけちゃいましたけども、まあああいうのって実は日常茶飯事で、さっきもちょっと話したね、そのツアーバスのうんちゃんと話したんだけども、運転手さんとよくあるよねっつって、ただまだ車の台数が7台ぐらいだったらよかったけど、これ10何台になったら大変だよっつって、やっぱりスリアヘッド付近は道がタイトでナロー、非常に厳しいですね。だから特に観光シーズン、サマー、オータム走る方は気をつけた方がいいんじゃないでしょうか。先スリアヘッドを取ってブラスケットの方も通ったんだけど、結局もうミルキーフォグ、濃い濃霧なんで写真撮っても絵になりませんし、結局いい写真撮れないんで、今日はドライブということで、ただその雨のディングルってもなかなかいいっすよね。観光客で真っ青な青空、そういった中でのディングルがまあ上等なんだろうけど、このちょっと裏寂しい感じのディングル半島もいいんじゃないですかね。今ディングルの後半戦、ディングル半島地図で見ると下の方から回ってキログリーンから左折して時計回りに回っています。今は、半島を折り返して半島の根元、パックフェア、アイルランドの最も古い伝統のお祭り、ヤギさんとか登場するパックフェアのキログリーンを目指します。でキログリーンからリングオブケリーに入ってチャースビーン、ケルズといったいわゆるケリーダークスカイのエリアを取って、スケリックマイケル、スター・ウォーズの撮影でも有名になりましたスケリックマイケルの玄関口ポートマギー、そしてマリンスケリック目指します。本当は今日来る予定じゃなかったんだけど、こういった、まあ、ちょっとしたハプニングで旅のスケジュールをこうソフトにしておいてフレキシブルにしておくといろいろこう、選択の幅が広がるんで、あまり旅のプランするとき、もし日程に余裕があるのであればあまり決めつけない方がいいと思いますよね。結局アイルランドのそのツーリズムっての天気、特に写真を撮る人にとってはね、天気によって本当に左右されちゃうんで、天気図とにらめっこしながらこうちょっと、スケジュールを変えたりいじくったり、そういった、まあ、フレキシブルなスケジュールを組むといいんじゃないでしょうか。はい、カウンティーケリーのディングル半島です。
something inspired by a piece of art?
No.
No.
No. I like to create art. I don't copy art.
Aha.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we were just talking to Michael Flatley there. So what they've done is, in a hotel in Dublin, they've taken his art and they've made cakes with the art on top. So it's amazing looking stuff. Anyway, you've been inspired. This book is inspired by children's stories and baking for children. It's called Bake Me a Story. So just tell people that the concept, if you like.
It's a storybook and a cookbook all mixed into one. So I've got 15 stories, and with each story there's a recipe that goes with it. So you can read the story first and then do the recipe afterwards, or do the recipe first and then read the story afterwards, and just sit down and tell the story with something that's kind of physically there, which is something that I had to test on my children quite a lot, and they are my harshest critics.
You've 3 children. What ages are they?
9. I've got 2 boys, 9-year-old and an 8-year-old, and a little girl who's 5.
So it's Musa, Dawood and Mariam.
Yeah.
Is that correct pronunciations?
That is.
Yeah,
It is.
I do. Well, what do they think of what has happened in the last year?
I mean, my boys are, like, just say, well, it's just what she does now, and they're just kind of okay with it. I think they've just taken it. I don't think it's affected them massively. They just see me a little bit less than they would normally. But the thing is, I try and come home for bedtime most nights, and that's really important. But my little girl always, even now, I mean, she said it this morning, she said, I wish Tamar had one. Yes.
She honestly has children, yes.
Yeah. She just said, I wish you had one. I wish Tamar had one, because if Tamar had one, then he would have been the one that was busy.
Yeah.
So she still resents it slightly.
Because you've done so much. So there's this book. There's a Bake Me a Story is the book we're talking about. But there's another cookbook as well, which is fascinating. I'm looking forward to doing the prawns and the tomato thing on the bread thing, which looks amazing. And then you did 2 programs for the BBC on your home country of Bangladesh. I saw you at the Baptist accepting the award and speaking there. You've baked the Queen cake. There's a story, a children's story on its own, isn't it? Baking the Queen cake. So how did that come about, baking the Queen cake for her 90th birthday?
We got this email. I got this email, and my agent called me and said, and she said, you might have to sit down for this. And I said, it's a prank, it can't be real, So for me, I didn't believe it for a very long time. And then I kind of even toyed with the idea of not doing it at all, because I was so afraid of baking a cake with Queen. And I thought, my goodness, why? I kept asking my husband, why would she want me to bake a cake? And he kept saying, why wouldn't she want you to bake a cake? So we had this conversation for a few days, and then I decided, well, I'm just being silly now. And then I did it, and she's the only person that I've met that I've been completely starstruck by. You just never imagine in your life that you're going to actually come face to face with the Queen. And when you do meet her, I was supposed to say, in my head I'd had it planned that I was going to say, happy birthday, Your Majesty, and instead I said, good morning, Your Highness, at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So messed that, fluffed the line. Yeah.
What was the cake?
So I did an orange cake. So it's an orange drizzle cake. It was citrusy and zesty, and as she cut the cake, I could smell the orange. So I was like, yes, it's orangey.
Yes. I suppose part of the reason, I don't know the thinking behind it, but part of the reason was that you became this sort of was a spokesperson or a poster girl for Muslim women in Britain, do you think?
surrounding these kind of situations that happen. And I'm a human and I don't always have answers for everything. I don't really know what I would do in that situation myself.
Yes, yeah. I suppose it is because, as you said earlier on, that there are very few of you, if you like, Muslim women out there in the media, so that's why people would think that you might have an answer to it, I suppose. Abdul is your husband, and you were a product, he too, your marriage product of an arranged marriage. You were 21, and you were looking forward to redoing it all again?
Oh yeah, I mean, we had an Islamic marriage, and it was something that was arranged by my dad and my father-in-law, and we never really knew each other that well, so, I mean, 11 years later, it's safe to say I quite like him now.
Oh, yeah.
So, it'd be lovely to do something, where we can actually have proper vows, and, and the kids will be there too, so that'd be quite nice.
Lovely, yeah. When you say you didn't really know, how often had you met before you got married?
Oh, we hadn't met. You hadn't met? No. The day we got engaged was the first day we never actually met each other. And the second time we met was the time we got married.
Yeah. You can see how a lot of people would think that's daft.
Yeah, of course. It works though. I'm not saying, to be fair, I was lucky. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. And luckily I got one of the good ones, so I was very lucky.
Yeah. And how about, Mariam, your youngest, your daughter, and I suppose the lads as well, would you be in favour of them going into arranged marriages?
Well, no, because I've got better things to do. When I get old, I want to go on a cruise, and I don't really fancy arranging their marriages and doing all of that jazz. They can do that themselves. Why? I mean, we live in a world where it progresses and it changes, and I'd like my kids to move with the changes and progress with life as opposed to regress, if anything. So I'd love for them to kind of know. And to be fair, no, I want to go on a cruise.
That's it.
No, I won't be doing that. Yeah.
So those two, I'm looking forward to seeing them. I didn't see them when they were out. The two documentaries on you returning to Bangladesh. Was that sort of a voyage of discovery for you? What age were you when you left?
For Bangladesh?
No, what age were you when you left Bangladesh?
When I left? Oh no, I wasn't born there.
Oh, why not? Sorry.
No. I was born in England, but we went back to Bangladesh every year.
Right. So strong ties with Bangladesh, yes. Yeah.
Oh yeah. All our extended family were out there, and we went every summer holiday for 6 weeks every year. So we were there for our summer holidays.
Right. Okay. And having lived your life in the UK and going back there and seeing the contrast. Do you find that a sort of a gap grows between you and Bangladesh or not?
I think over the years after I've had children, there's definitely been a gap. And I suppose when you have your own kids, you go through your own kind of journey of discovery of who you are as a parent. And I know as a parent, I was very overprotective and kind of very sanitary in my approach. It's like sort of anti-backing everything and wiping every worktop down and making sure they were super clean. And that's probably why I avoided going to Bangladesh with the children for years. But I mean, as the kids have watched the documentary, they've become more and more jealous of the fact that I've gone out there without them. And they're suddenly really interested in their granddad's heritage and where he lived and where we went on holidays. So it's something that we're definitely going to do kind of closer to, definitely in the future, near future, we're definitely going to take them out there so they can understand where I had my summer holidays.
It's great. I saw you wrote an article in you write regularly now for the Sunday Times, isn't it? And you wrote an article, How to Win the Great British Bake Off. And one of the things is you said you need to be able to, not just to be able to bake, but to bake in front of the cameras.
Yeah.
It's different. Obviously, it's the nerves and all that sort of thing. It can be overpowering, I would imagine.
Yeah, I think at first you notice the cameras quite a lot, and then after sort of week 2 or 3, and as the time progresses, you do realise that you forget that they're there, and then it's just very easy just to be yourself and just bake naturally. And my husband says, just go when you're there, just be your dopey self. And that's what I did.
Nice man.
Yeah.
But he's a keeper, obviously.
Oh yeah.
So you do everything. You rewrite some classic children's stories, and you incorporate then the various foodstuffs into them. So you've the littlest Dragon cinnamon biscuits. You've Rapunzel's enchanted carrots, illy goat, and the cheese and onion tart, which I'm looking forward to making. I doubt if my kids will eat it, but there you go. The never-ending... Sorry? I will eat it. The never-ending porridge pan, and it's all there. Make me a story, daddies. And just before we leave you've signed a 3-book deal for 3 novels as well.
Yes, I've got, I'm writing some women's fiction, which has been such good fun. You know, it's lovely to be able to write things in different ways, and that's what I'm enjoying at the moment, just writing in different ways and being able to express myself in different ways.
When is the first one out?
That'll be out in the new year.
Great. Well, listen, it's been a pleasure talking to you. Make me a story, as you put it out. Make me writing stories and teaching about it. Thanks, Maria.
Leis an tell nó chu is mó an áitiile. Bé teachtas airte idir 9 agus 10 Celsius san is teocha bei sem. Agus leis sin bhíon a gibtíí scéalt an gluocht agus leim sin fiamáchaid agus tá tuile go dóch le fáil an RTE News Now. Carmaga Pattern, now it's Sports Siobhan Lanigan.
Thank you. Very good afternoon. The FIFA President Gianni Infantino is not yet certain that the 2026 World Cup finals would feature 40 teams, even though he personally favours an expanded tournament. Infantino made a 40-team World Cup a key part of his election campaign before he assumed the role in February, but admitted now that it is not entirely up to him to decide whether or not to expand the tournament from its current format, which includes 32 countries. Premier League Hull City have today refused to be drawn on speculation linking them with the Republic of Ireland manager Martin O'Neill. The Derryman has yet to sign his contract extension with the FAI despite reaching agreement prior to the start of last summer's European Championship finals in France. O'Neill dismissed any link with the return to club management following last night's 2-2 draw with Serbia in Belgrade. Noel Kings, Republic of Ireland under-21s take on their Serbian counterparts this evening. A second place finish in the group is still possible, but they will need to start out with a win over the reigning under-20 World Cup winners this evening. They'll get underway in about 55 minutes' time at 5 o'clock. Connacht are still counting the costs of Saturday's Pro 12 defeat to Glasgow at the Sports Ground. Both Dennis Hickey and Peter Robb are now doubtful ahead of this weekend's visit of the Ospreys in the tournament. Plus side both men have started to return to play coach goals following head injuries. Connacht are already without internationals Nathan White and Ben Marshall since last season, also due to bouts of concussion. The former youth Olympic boxing champion Ray Moylet has today announced that he is to turn professional. The 26-year-old Westport fighter won a European elite title for Ireland in the light welterweight division back in 2011. Ireland's second 2020 cricket international against Hong Kong was abandoned today without a ball being bowled. Hong Kong have now won the series by 1-0. The women's T20 clash between Ireland and Bangladesh also failed to get underway at Bredy this morning. And the Listowel-born jockey Brian Cooper will return from injury to the saddle at Galway this evening. He'll go in Tiger's role for trainer Gordon Elliott in the Grade 3 Ballybridge Novice Chase. The first race at Galway. Ray is away at 4.
Siobhan, thank you very much. 51551 for your text. You can send us emails to ray@rte.ie. We were talking about disembarking from aircraft, and that if you did it by aisle first, then middle, then window seat, that it would be a lot more efficient. It would reduce the disembark time by 35%. Of course, doesn't take into account that a lot of people take together as families and they don't want to disembark separately. Anyway, Orla says, just back with Borneo, when boarding plane from Kuala Lumpur to Kuching, is it? They had to board in row numbers, i.e. window row, then middle row, etc. I was in the middle row seat, so could not board with my husband who was in a window seat. Didn't save any time, quite funny, says Orla. And I've been living in Dromahare in County Leitrim for 20 years, but shortly after I moved here, I was told of a woman who lived in the mountains behind Dromahare. She supposedly had 2 bears, go on, who she would bring out for walks along the country lanes at night to avoid attracting attention. She moved away shortly after we arrived. I'd forgotten all about it until you mentioned the bears in Dromahare. That's make you up. And my 14-year-old daughter made a chocolate ganache. It's a great word, isn't it, ganache? Cake recipe from Hello magazine. It was the cake that the Queen had for her 90th birthday. That was made by Daddy, who just had on. But the cake was for her uncle's special birthday and kept out of the kitchen, says Gabrielle. And did the Queen pay for her cake when Daddy's gone? I would imagine she didn't. I don't think the Queen pays for anything, does she? That the Queen has ever had cash. The Queen doesn't carry cash. The Queen of England, I doubt that she carries cash. Now, Claudine Keane is on the line. How are you doing, Claudine?
Hi. How are you? Good afternoon.
Too bad. You recently launched Spar Better Choices Kids campaign.
That's right. I'm so excited to be involved. It's basically we aim to offer children a new range of healthy and convenient options from across the fresh food, deli and grocery ranges. And it's just been exciting for me to get involved with 2 young children. I know that, healthy and convenient food is what moms, try and give their children. And I think Spar has made it as easy as possible. So basically, shoppers, even with varying diets, low fat, high protein, gluten-free, there's products available across the store, and basically the initiative will see specific portions available that are child-friendly. And kids can kind of get a lunch pack with, say, a water, fruit juice, or fruit or yogurt and a wrapper roll. So it's all basically made so easy so that we can ensure that our kids still have a healthy, balanced diet, and we can be on the go while doing it.
Spar Better Choice Kids is already in a number of stores and will roll out to other Spar stores over the coming weeks. And for further information, you can go to www.spar.ie. So you have Hudson, who's 11 months old, and Robert Jr., who's 7.
Yeah, so I have, definitely got my hands full at the moment. I've got one that's running around and the other that's crawling around, so there's definitely no rest for me at the moment.
What sort of an accent does Robert have?
Pardon?
What sort of an accent does he have?
Actually, weirdly enough, he still has, definitely an Irish kind of accent in general, and then obviously there's a few American words thrown in for a good measure, they'll say the trunk of the car, or can I get some candy or something, but really in general, it's obvious that he's Irish, but there's a little twang there at times,
How long are you out in LA?
5 years, it's flown by. It's really hard to believe we've been there so long, and at the time Rob had signed a 2-year contract, so I think we were seeing it as maybe kind of a 2, maybe 3 year, but 5 years.
Yeah. You call him Rob, we call him Robbie. Yeah. Does anybody call him Robert?
His grandmother is the only person literally that calls him Robert, and she's hilarious. Yeah, she still sticks with it. She doesn't care what anyone else calls him. He's always going to be Robert to her. But to myself and his family and friends, he's always been Rob. I think that's funny for other people to hear me saying it, but it's such a habit that I can't even change it when I'm,
And is Robert very much Robert? Do you correct people if they call him Robbie or Rob?
You know what, there's so many Robs, Robbie, Roberts, my Rob's dad was Robbie too, so I think that was the whole reason why he was Rob in his household, to kind of distinguish them both, And so with Robert, for me, I think, he's a little boy. He's not a Robbie yet. I feel like Robbie's a bit too grown up or something.